I don't talk about it often, but I love VR, and one of my favorite games of all time is Boneworks. Back in 2019, Boneworks came out proving for the umpteenth time that VR can have great games, and if developers put the time and effort into it, VR can be so much more than just a gimmick. Ever since the launch day of Boneworks, I fell in love with the game, and flash forward to today, BONELAB, the Boneworks sequel is out, but it's not really a sequel. While it takes place in the same universe, it is not a direct sequel story-wise, but I'm gonna treat it as such. BONELAB starts with you hanging yourself. Well, kinda. You're being hung in a town square with nothing else to do, a knife spawns in front of you, and you slash the rope and fall into the hole below. And from here, the campaign just kinda goes all over the place. Boneworks tossed the theme and tone out of the window for parts of its last few levels. It was a nice change of pace. BONELAB, on the other hand, feels like it doesn't have a consistent theme throughout the entire thing. Boneworks felt like you were making your way through MythOS and climbing your way to the tower. You can visualize a map in your head of the places you visited, while BONELAB feels like multiple levels that aren't connected in any way, shape, or form. Most levels feel like they take place in a void, separate from everything else. And it feels like this because it is. Once you get to the hub, you play a crane game to open the next area. But what you probably don't know is that you have to enter the modes to open the containers on top of the doors to do the crane game. I sat there for so long on my first playthrough, just smashing the fucking crane on top of the containers, wondering why it's not picking anything up. So you have to either enter these modes and play them or just leave immediately and then you can grab the balls. And then proceed with the story. The thing is, you don't have any avatars unlocked at this point, so while fun, you aren't playing with the thing you probably saw in all the game's advertising, you being able to change to a different character on the fly. Once you get to the part where you get to play as different avatars, each one has their own level, some good, some bad, but most of them are pretty short. Before getting more in depth, let's talk about the guns and weapons. Guns and weapons? What the fuck am I saying? Let's talk about the guns and melee weapons. There's a large variety of guns with rifles, SMGs, and pistols, and a new addition of shotguns. All the guns feel pretty great, and melee combat is just as fun as it was in Boneworks. Maybe a little bit more fun with the stronger characters. My favorite inclusions are the pump action shotguns and the UMP. Man, those shotguns are good. The thing is, you don't get to use many of the new weapons in the main story though. I didn't even know half the weapons existed until I replayed the story, finding the capsules. Let's talk about the rest of the levels. While I liked most of them, two in particular have been getting a lot of hate from the community. The moon base and the pillar climb. And I wholeheartedly agree. The moon map has this song playing, which is pretty fun, pretty catchy. Unless you listen to it for a while, which you probably will. Literally, all you have to do is climb up one building, grab the capsule, finish the level. But it's really not that clear. So, you jump around this level, listening to the song, not knowing what to do. There is a map at the beginning of the level that tells you exactly where to go, but the map is so massive with nothing to do in it. They also don't tell you you can use your gun's recoil to boost yourself, but you know, that's a little secret gamer knowledge, if you know what I'm saying. This level highlights something the entire game struggles with: lack of explanation. I don't know if they just didn't playtest outside of the company, but I feel like that would have given them a little more insight on what is and what isn't obvious to people. As much as I like those aha moments where everything clicks, but those moments aren't rewarding when it's something that shouldn't have been difficult to figure out in the first place. Pillar climb is something else, man. This level suffers from something that I feel like happens with other games too, where it's got an interesting mechanic on a level that does not fit it at all. You have to climb to the top as this tall guy and shoot this orb, except the level doesn't tell you to shoot the orb, and while you're climbing to the top, you keep getting your avatar switched, which fucking sucks. If they had this mechanic on a level where you're fighting and have to improvise based on your size, that would have been pretty sick. But instead, it's on a climbing level where your arm length is the most important thing to finish the level. Each avatar has a level for themselves, but Pillar Climb doesn't even let you use the level's character unless you are knowingly defending yourself from the paper airplane fucking stupid things flying at you. The best part about this level is that it's short. The thing is, these avatar levels make up the majority of the main story, and they are all short. But the levels that aren't introducing an avatar are pretty good. Just like Boneworks, most of the puzzles in the game let you figure it out on your own, which I really like. Side thought, the go-kart is literally the best thing they've added. Honestly, fuck all the other SDK updates. We need some more damn vehicles. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I'm kind of talking out my ass right. Speaking of the SDK, let's talk about mods. The thing with BONELAB is that most of the content you are going to get from this game will be modded in. But the thing is, the SDK only supports maps, avatars, and spawnable objects. We're still waiting on the SDK to support things like weapons, vehicles, code mods, custom NPCs, etc, etc. Ayo, editing syrup here. I recorded the voiceover a couple days before, but the first weapon mods have come out. I haven't gotten the chance to use them yet. I'm still sitting at my fucking computer editing this video. God, please save me. But I do want to say that it is very impressive people are getting weapon mods out without the support, even from the developers. Like, the SDK doesn't even support this shit yet, and people are doing it. Even in the modding sense, it just doesn't stack up to Boneworks and all the mods from that. Granted, it took a while and they weren't officially supported in any way, but I'm sure with time, mods will be much better and much more advanced as the SDK gets updated. Of course, the soundtrack bangs. There are songs from a ton of different genres, and it really feels like they went above and beyond for this game's soundtrack. Shout out to Riot, cause goddamn some of these tracks are going on the playlist. If you ask me, personally, I feel like I definitely got my money's worth with this game, but a lot of people feel like they haven't, and I understand that as well. The campaign is shorter than Boneworks, barely get to use any of the new weapons in it. If you don't know how to do it, the climbing system can feel horrible, and the usual jank is there. And if you suffer from motion sickness, this game is not the game for you either. This game is definitely way more driven by user content, and the SDK for that content just isn't really fully there yet. In due time, I feel like BONELAB will grow into its price tag more and more as the SDK gets updated. A lot of people were expecting a main story as long as Boneworks, at least, and we didn't get that. But I've been having a ton of fun with the game, and if you've played the game, let me know what you think. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to doing drive-bys on Mario Kart maps. Take it easy, have a good one.